Hello everyone, welcome to the latest edition of Brontë Mania. In this video I'm going to be discussing the life of Elizabeth Branwell, who came to live with the Brontes following the death of her sister Maria, Patrick's wife. Elizabeth played a leading role in the upbringing of the Brontë children, and she was a great support to Patrick in his time of trial, and it would have been very difficult for him to overcome the reverse of his wife without his sister-in-law's help at this most trying of times. She was well loved within the Brontë household, but she actually had different relations with the Brontë siblings who lived to adulthood. She enjoyed really close relations with Anne and Branwell, but the case was markedly different when it came to Charlotte and Emily. I'm now going to describe this a bit. Her relations to Anne can be well understood because when Anne's mother died, she was only a toddler and she actually slept in the same room as Aunt Branwell, and they gained a level of trust and love for that reason alone. And in any case, Aunt Branwell really was devoted to little Anne, being the youngest of the children, and she really adored her, and they had a lifelong, really strong connection. The case with Branwell, from childhood onwards, he really had a great love for his aunt. She helped him in so many ways when he went through difficult times in his life. She was a great support to him, and he really appreciated all she did for him. It's strange how Emily and Charlotte should have a different relationship with their aunt. There was always a sort of distance between them. They always sensed that their aunt lacked warmth towards them for some reason. Maybe it was just one of those things where children don't relate to one of their elder relatives who is closer to other children than to them. Just maybe one of those things. Hard to understand, really. But despite this lack of connection, Charlotte was not averse to seeking out her aunt's help when she required it and when there was nowhere else to turn to. This occurred in September 1841 when Charlotte was working as a governess with the White family in Rawdon, Leeds. She thought it was a good idea if she and Emily were to seek out some foreign schooling for themselves, to go abroad to gain further knowledge, or particularly foreign language such as French and German. And this was in order to assist them when they had plans to start a school of their own, which would include Anne. All three of them would be teachers at this school, which they hopefully were going to set up at the parsonage, their home. And they were going to plan to build an extension to the house so they could build a classroom, or schoolroom as they said in those days. This was destined for failure later on, but they didn't realise it at the time. But in any case, Charlotte had this plan in her head that it would be a good idea if they set out to foreign climes to further education. So in September 1841, she wrote this letter to Aunt Branwell seeking financial assistance to help in this plan. And I would like to read from a part of the letter she wrote, seeking her aunt's help. She says, "I feel certain while I am writing that you will see the propriety of what I say. You always like to use your money to the best advantage. You are not fond of making shabby purchases. When you do confer a favour, it is often done in style, and depend upon it, £50 or £100 thus laid out would be well employed. Of course, I know no other friend in the world to whom I could apply on this subject except yourself. I feel an absolute conviction that, if this advantage were allowed us, it would be the making of us for life." As usual with Charlotte, her letter was very persuasive. She had a bit of a talent for that, and she did write some extremely entertaining letters as well, but it could be forceful if there was something she required, especially in a hurry. And so after this, Aunt agreed to lend her, to give her the money to set her up in this schooling. After a discussion with Patrick, it was agreed upon, and they set up. Charlotte actually left her post as governess in December 1841, and they set off to Brussels in early February 1842 for this foreign schooling, which involved firstly herself and Emily becoming pupils at the pensionnat in Brussels, and later they became teachers. And it proved very valuable to them, but as I say, the school plan fell through because they couldn't find any pupils, which was a bit of a shame. Yes, Patrick valued his sister-in-law very highly. He relied a lot on her support, and she was very valuable to the whole household, but to Patrick it was a really bit of a godsend that she should arrive after his wife passed away, to help him with the running of the household and bringing up his children. I'd like to share with you now a picture I have of Aunt Branwell. Is it here? I don't think it's particularly a flattering picture, but it gets the idea over that she was a very respectable person who you could turn to in times of trouble, and she would help you out if she could, because she's just that sort of charitable, kind-hearted person. But it's sad to relate that, yes, Charlotte and Emily went off to Brussels in February 1842, mostly through the financial aid of their aunt, but that was only in February 1842, and the end of October 1842, very same year, Aunt unfortunately contracted an illness and died within a few days of the illness first rearing its ugly head. So this was a great loss to the household, and to lose Aunt in this manner. I have a letter that actually Branwell wrote to a friend on the passing of his aunt, and this shows you this is a really touching, heartfelt portion of the letter where he talks about his aunt in really well-rounded terms. It's really lovely the way he expresses it, I think. He states, "I have now lost the guide and director of all the happy days connected to my childhood." So that shows you how important she was to him. I'd like to read now from my book, my novel on Anne Brontë. This is written from her perspective. And this is basically talking about the funeral of her aunt, and she's saying how important it was for her to gain leave of absence from her governess post with the Robinsons at Thorpe Green Hall. As she explains, "I had to be there for her this one last time to give my thanks to her for all that she had done for me throughout my life. She had proved to be a worthy surrogate mother to me, a perfect replacement for the mother I had lost before I had had the opportunity to know her." That shows you how much Anne loved her aunt and how important she was to her. Well, that's all for now. Thank you very much for tuning in to this latest video in Brontë Mania, and I look forward to touching base with you very soon. Thank you. Bye.